In more news tonight, a record number of child sexual abuse for the first 3 months of this year is being described as alarming. The findings of a study on child sexual abuse have revealed that the month of February had a record of 80% abuse. Statistics also show that children between the ages of 11 and 15 are the most violated. Minister for Social Services and Gender Affairs Gloria Shillingford disclosed the findings at a stakeholders consultation on child sexual abuse at the Holy Redeemer Retreat House this morning.
We are often at a loss to understand why children should less than 5 years be sexually violated and left to suffer the consequences such as venereal disease. Another pertinent question is, why should a child at secondary school as young as 14 years have her education interrupted because of sexual abuse committed by an adult? Statistics from the Welfare Division shows that for the first 3 months of this year, child sexual abuse records the highest percentage of reported cases among the various forms of abuse. The month of February had a high of 80% abuse, January 75%, and March 47%. Interestingly, children between the ages of 11 to 15 years are the most violated. This again brings me back to ask the question, which many persons have raised and seemingly cannot find answers. Who are those perpetrators and what are their characteristics? Both literature and research have documented certain findings. Clinical descriptions of sexual abusive behavior include a misconception of the victim, low self-esteem, sense of incompetence, social isolation, a lack of support and help, lack of empathy, depression, poor self-control, and a history of abuse and neglect as a child.
Minister for Social Services and Gender Affairs Gloria Shillingford. She says the perpetrators behind this act needs professional help. Shillingford is concerned about the way in which the issue of child sexual abuse is being dealt with. She also lashed out against those who make out-of-court settlement where child sexual abuse is concerned.
While there remains enormous amount of uncertainty based on clinical accounts, it seems that many sex abusers may have problems relating to women and possibly, quote-unquote, poor social skills, and sexual anxiety contributes to this. Documented research findings point to the fact that perpetrators of sexual and other abuse need help. This can be obtained only if they seek such assistance and that professionals are equipped to deal with the many and varied characteristics. I wish to assert, however, that there are those individuals who sometimes uphold the action of child abusers. I speak here particularly of persons who make out-of-court arrangements and settlements. This is an affront to the cause of justice and further destroys the victims of such abuse. Children are not to be sold for a few thousands of dollars, sometimes merely a few hundreds. This, by its very act, belittles and dehumanizes an individual. Such actions have detrimental effects on the child, both now and in the future.
Minister for Social Services and Gender Affairs Gloria Shillingford. Meantime, Chief Welfare Officer Martin Anthony says strong proactive action needs to be taken to deal with the issue of child sexual abuse in Dominica. Anthony says reports of venereal disease in sexual abuse children is a major concern.
We have for a very long time been discussing this issue at a national level. But from what we are gathering now, that we really need to take strong proactive actions to really address the issue. The issues related to child abuse are multifaceted, but I'm of the opinion that there are issues that can be addressed, and if we really put our heads together as a nation, we can really find solutions. From where we stand at the Welfare Division and the work in which we're engaged, on a daily basis, we see many children who are being violated. We, up to recently, been looking at a case where from the medical prognosis, seemingly the child, after being sexually abused, has come down with venereal disease. This is a concern when a child less than 10 years at such an early age is already affected by venereal disease, and one doesn't even know at this stage the long-term effects in terms of the very life of the child based on the type of venereal disease. We realize that this is a major, major concern. When we see children come into the Welfare Division, from the top of their heads to their feet, marked and scarred, being physically abused, this is a concern. Many expressions have been made, some of them very emotional, but it means that when all is gathered, that we need to join forces to address this issue.
Chief Welfare Officer Martin Anthony, he was addressing a stakeholders consultation on child sexual abuse. Plans are underway to officially launch the Dominica Education Enhancement Project funded by the government of Dominica with counterpart support of $420,000 and a US $4 million loan facility from the Caribbean Development Bank. The project, which is costing close to 12 million Eastern Caribbean dollars, seeks to improve the quality, efficiency, and effectiveness of the educational system by enhancing the learning environment at primary and secondary schools. It is also geared at upgrading the institutional framework and improving teacher quality. The official launch will take place at 3 p.m. at the terrace of the Windsor Park Stadium on Monday, 5th July 2010. Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit is expected to deliver the feature address. The ceremony will also be attended by officials of the Caribbean Development Bank, members of the project steering committee, as well as other stakeholders of the project. Still on the local scene tonight, newly appointed Mayor of Portsmouth, Vernon Daniel, is dismissing claims that the Dominica Labour Party has not done enough for the town and its residents. There have been claims that after being dominant in Portsmouth for 50 years, the DLP has not done enough.
The Labour Party has done quite a bit for the Portsmouth constituency. It's true that when you measure the time that the Labour Party has been dominating in the city in Portsmouth, which is 50 years, against the time they have been in government, which is really effectively about 10 years, you kind of expect more. And a lot of people in the town, I guess, expect more. But I would say they've done, during the period of time between 2000 and 2010 that they've been in government, they contributed adequately and sufficiently to the Portsmouth constituency. And I believe if the Labour Party remains there, they would be able to contribute more. And on the council, being able to have that vision with central government, it will actually be an avenue in which enough projects can be implemented.
Newly appointed Mayor of Portsmouth, Vernon Daniel. Daniel was appointed mayor after the resignation of Errol Hill. A list of applications to fill the position of Events Director at the Dominica Festivals Committee will soon be taken to Cabinet. Colin Piper, Director of Tourism, says 6 names have been selected out of 17 applications wanting to take up the position formerly held by Val Coffey. According to the Tourism Director, experience in production and project management skills is among the requirements laid out for the position. However, Piper says things have been moving ahead, even while a new events director for the DFC has not been appointed.